Welcome to the Geniuses of Copywriting podcast, a peek into the minds and strategies of the world's greatest copywriters, marketers, and persuasion experts. And now, here's your host, Brian Casangina.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Geniuses of Copywriting podcast. I have been fortunate enough to ask back my good friend, and I've been lucky enough for him to say yes, Carlos Redlich. It's great to have you back on the show because you were on the show a few weeks ago, and I thought that you just had such value to give everyone that I just had to have you back on, but not just in the copywriting world, because some of the stuff that you mentioned last time that you were on the show, was more about sales psychology, and any good copywriter, and I think any copywriter worth their salt has cut their teeth like me and you have in direct sales, and the reality is we're in sales. So I wanted to dive back into that we were talking about last time. So thanks for coming along again. So I'm really interested in your take on the sales world, man.
Oh, I appreciate you having me back on.
Sure,
it's
man.
Always an honor and a privilege, dude. And I love the shit. I got to get myself one of those.
Yeah, I got to start selling them.
Make sure you send him money for a shirt so then you can start putting it up for sale.
Yeah. I'm just making a note to set up a sales page for that now.
There we go. I'll be the first customer.
Cool, man. Thanks. So sales, man. I know you're a hell of a salesman. So how does that gel with copy and what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, it's good for a couple reasons, right? So if you're good at sales, and maybe that's over the phone or in person, which I actually used to be really terrible at. I learned copywriting to get good at that stuff. Yeah. And so, and the reason I learned copywriting was also to become good at doing podcasts like these. Like if you would have known me before, I'd be like, oh, shut in. I wouldn't be able to say anything. But copywriting was a platform that helped me learn these skills. So when I say sales and we say that, I don't want folks to be like, oh, he must be like this natural salesman who then learned copywriting. It was actually first. I learned copywriting to learn sales, persuasion, and just how to communicate.
Yeah, I was the same. Yeah.
So sales, though, it's powerful because when you're able to close a deal, and when I say close a deal, it doesn't necessarily mean a yes. When I say close a deal, it's getting a yes or a no, right? You close the deal. Yeah. Most people don't ever close a deal. They'll talk for an hour and then they'll say, well, I'll send you a proposal with a real pricing because I can't tell you that over the phone for some crazy. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, know the deal. So, and it's just ridiculous. You can just shorten the process. And when you know how to close a deal and politely ask for a close, right? So would you be interested in doing business with me? Based on what I just said to you over the phone, yes or no, and then you go from there. That's a closed deal in my thinking.
I'll think about it and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you close the deal. You have to shut the door. You can always open the door back up later, but at this moment in time, we've closed the deal. Yeah. They have said, no, I will not do business with you. Good. Deal closed.
Yeah, cool.
So that's
better than to think about it.
Kind of clarify that, because when I say deal closed, I think people are going to be like, dude, does he close every single deal?
Yeah.
Well, in my terms, I close every deal. It's going to be a yes. It's going to be not going to be like, I don't know. Be like, well, what don't you know?
Yeah.
How do we get you clear on that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you ask that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can do that stuff. It's good because you can get as a freelancer, you can get clients because you're not scared of closing a deal and asking for the sale right there, right?
Yeah, because they're looking to do business with someone. Yeah. So that's really a breakthrough for many copywriters, because one thing that I hate and I'm working on the same style of closing as you. I hate I'll think about it. I need to talk to my business partner. I need to discuss my wife and stuff like that. That's something that I'm really trying to eliminate from my game. I probably don't get it on as many sales calls as you do, but you and I acknowledge you as a master of this area. I'm better in the written word, but what's your advice for people who are a bit nervous about that? They don't quite want to push things that far. I mean, is that just a mindset thing?
Well, you kind of have to be sold on what you do, right? So like the way I had to sell myself on anything I do, even martial art. Before, I was really good in martial arts, but I had never sold it because I was just a martial artist. I was never a professional martial artist who sold it as a school owner, right? So when you make that shift, you have to understand in your head that this is like, and I'm going to use this crazy example. Obviously, it's not the equivalent, but you kind of have to believe that whatever you're selling is almost like the cure to AIDS. Like this is like the cure, right? So whenever somebody would come to me, if they didn't, for martial arts, and they didn't sign up, which almost everybody signed up because, well, we had a free week, so who wouldn't sign up, right? But I mean, everybody would sign up on the initial thing because it's like, if they walked away, be like, hey man, why, what turns you off? I don't get why wouldn't you do that? And I would ask them, like, what turned you off? It's a free week. It's martial art. You came in because you wanted to punch and kick and wrestle. We do all that. Was it my beard?
Yeah.
And I just turned to a joke, and they're like, well, no, I don't know if I have the money. Hey, dude, well, no worries. It's cool if you don't have the money. That's why we got a free week. We can figure out the money after that. You want to just do the free week?
Yeah. Yeah,
let's do the free week. Okay, dude, come on. Like, close the deal, dude. What was the issue, you know? So I forgot where we were going with that, but exactly.
Yeah. But that doesn't matter because it relates on to my next question. I mean, about about signing people up for a free thing, because it's a thing that we know in copywriting that a free product is just as hard to sell as a paid product, and it's really interesting. Your aspect of having to overcome objections just to get people to sign up for something free as well.
It's funny when you charge something like silly, like it doesn't make sense, like $1 or something. Like that's almost easier to sell than free because it's funny. And you have a money back guarantee. Like we've done that. Like 10 times. If you don't like it, we'll give you all 100 pennies back to you. We will mail it to you if you want the weight. It's like a ridiculous sale, and they're like, "All right, I got $1, dude." Certainly injects some personality. That's how free plus shipping book funnels work as well, which is a really good thing, and Russell Brunson's great at that. So, when I was selling karate memberships door to door years ago, back in the day, it was always it was never a free lesson or anything. We shied away from that model. It was always a small token amount, a few dollars, just to get someone to come into the dojo and train. So, if they're saying no to that, then especially because you would obviously target the nice neighborhoods and the big houses and you'd go in and do the presentation, and you'd say, it's $25 or it's $47 or whatever, and they say, oh no, we don't ever have the money. You look around, you're sitting at a huge marble table, and they got a massive TV in the corner of the room, and $45. Yeah, you don't have the $45. Yeah. Man, you would have totally gotten along with my buddy and my martial art instructor who got me into all of this stuff, Dwight Woods, because when I did my school, I did the free week because I was a timid salesperson. I was just scared. I was like, I'm going to work free week, right? Because that's how I was sold. But he shied away from that also. And we had, I think it was a $59 or $69.99. I think it was $59.90. We'll just call it $59. I think it was $59.95 quick start program, and essentially it was like a private class and like 2 group classes, and that was kind of your quick start. You got to $50, $60. And I mean, it makes sense now, but when I was trying to sell it, I couldn't sell it for anything because I was such a terrible salesperson. But I would see him sell it, and it was like a no-brainer. When he would offer it to people, that people would be like, oh, well, yeah, that makes total sense, So I was just thinking, man, you guys would have gotten perfectly along because you were doing the same thing, except you were actually doing it harder. I think you were doing door to door, which is even tougher.
Yeah. We used to knock on the door and set up an appointment and go back there with a little flip chart and talk and show photos of the classes and stuff.
Light school was easier. We had a ton of walk-bys. It was a really great shopping center, so it's like you get, I don't know, 10 walk-bys a day. Like that's a lot.
Yeah. But this karate school, as an aside, they built up to about 25,000 students in Australia over about 10 or 20 years using that method, just door-to-door knocking. And some shopping centre stuff as well. People would get sign-ups there, but mainly it was door-to-door stuff. So in Australian summers as well.
That's crazy. It's funny because I don't know anybody else, at least in the States, that does that type of approach to generate martial art business.
Yeah, because we had.
By the way, if I go on Instagram and have our Instagram peeps watch us at the same time.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay, cool.
Set
I
that
didn't
up.
want to like just texting and
No,
shit.
that's right. Yeah, cool. Go ahead, man. I was just saying that when I was at that club, we had a few dojos in the US, but we didn't do any door-to-door sales there. It was all shopping center. It was all shopping mall demonstrations.
Right. Well, when did you? I don't want to turn the interview around now, but I mean,
That's right.
like, get into like the door-to-door type stuff. So you were doing in the shopping centers, and you were doing door-to-door stuff.
I just did door-to-doors. I didn't do the shopping malls, but it was the original founder of the club who actually started doing the door knocking, decades ago, and he sort of managed to hit on something that was good, and he kept going that way. So it turns out to be a pretty big club.
Dude, that's genius. And I'm surprised that no one, I mean, maybe I'm just out of the loop, but most of the people that I know in the States, where in my head, I'm like, you're supposed to be known for like this, like entrepreneurial, go knock on doors. We're not doing that stuff, man. Why aren't we doing that? We're still trying to figure out like this flyer thing, which was so silly.
Yeah. I tried the flyers. I think I mentioned this in the last time we were on the show. I tried the flyers in the club as well, because, I was learning copywriting, and they had their door-to-door sales strategy, but they had no direct response marketing. So, I knew about the headlines and the testimonials and all that kind of shit. And I put together a direct response flyer for, because, half the people are not home when you knock on the door, or at least they're hiding behind the sofa or something. So you just drop a flyer in the letterbox, and then, I wanted to make that, because it was a terrible flyer that they designed. I wanted to make that a direct response thing. And, and they kind of freaked out about that. And they said, once you sort of raise up in the management of the club, you can start to do different stuff then.
Dude,
it kind of flipped out about that.
That's genius.
Yeah, because that's what I would do. I would like design a flyer to get them into an online funnel if they weren't home.
Do you think that helped you with your copy, having that experience?
Oh yeah. And this is really relevant for sales as well, because it's definitely helped me big time with the copy. What's the timeline? I started copywriting in 2003, and I was sort of doing this as a job about 5 years after that. So during this time, I was kind of trying to learn the ropes of copy, trying to find some good mentors, and I was still working different jobs. I found this sales job selling the karate memberships, and that really did help me. The ability to relate to people, and the ability to sit across from them in their home on their table, and literally take money off them and put it in your pocket at the end of the presentation. More copywriters should do that.
Yeah, dude, that's a skill most people don't have.
Yeah,
it's funny. I try to preach that as much as possible, because copywriting is huge, right? You've got to develop, I think, like some sort of high ticket skill, whether that's copywriting or lead generation skills or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, you still got to sell it somewhere or another, right? I mean, maybe I know some people who can hire salespeople and do that, but at some point, most of us will end up closing somebody on the phone for one of our services. Beginning, right? And having the ability to do that over the phone, combined with being able to do it through words or through just your traffic methods or whatever it might be, dude, that's like, you can never go broke. Like, you can never go broke. I mean, just think about it. You do it for yourself, you can always get a job, because making sales is always in demand. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm always preaching that you've got to learn the sales stuff, and you obviously have to have this high ticket skill, but you should always learn the sales stuff. The sales stuff is like that, like the in-person or the phone, like that's where the money is closed. That's where the deals are closed. You know what I mean? Unless you're doing it all through a sales page. So.
They're closed with either a yes or no. And I think, to come back to that point, and this is something that holds a lot of people back when they go into that door knocking role, because I stayed at this club long enough to become one of the managers there, and some of the people, 3/4 of the people probably, they just have this fear of rejection. They don't want to get to that no answer. They would rather, leave a flyer with someone who says they think about it. But I was always trying to get to that either that yes or no. rather than just that holding on for dear life. I think I'll think about it. How do you get over that? How do you train someone to get over that if you sit down with them and teach them?
If I to train them to get over what?
The fear of.
Well, the biggest fear is always going to come down if you're not fully sold on your stuff. Then just telling someone, hey, be more aggressive in your sales, you're going to come off as kind of like douchey. You're going to just be sales because you don't even believe in your product. So they're all going to feel that, and it's going to not work. So the first thing is, I was actually telling one of my buddies, Rob, I was like, dude, he was helping us with some other like side stuff. And I'm like, hey man, before you like pitch this stuff to people, like you've got to be fully sold. Cause I can tell you're not fully sold, right? Like you got to be fully sold or this should just be a waste of time. So the first thing is you've got to be sold on it. So let's say you're you're trying to make, and we'll just throw out an example. Let's say you're trying to sell your first $10,000 sales letter, right? Yeah. It's almost like the 2 Comma Club for copywriters, like the 10K club, fucking silly. But, so let's say you want to do your first $10,000 sales letter. Well, if you've never been paid for that, you can still make that money, obviously, but you've got to overcome that first big barrier in your mind of like, man, am I worth $10,000? And I don't know, you've got to, you look at your results, look at, how people are they happy with your services or not happy with your services? Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to look into it, but if you can sell yourself on, yeah, dude, I'm worth $20,000 for a fucking sales letter. Like these people made millions of dollars. Why wouldn't they want to get 20 grand? And for 10,000, it's a steal of a deal in your own mind. So when somebody says, well, I don't know, I got to think about it. It's not a gimmick or some trick that you're like, well, let me now hook them in. It's like, it should be an automatic response. Why the fuck wouldn't you want to do this? Like, true. Imagine you have the cure to AIDS, and the person has AIDS, and they're like, well, I'll think about it. Are you crazy?
Yeah, it's a bit too much money. It's a bit.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
And on that point, my first copywriting mentor, Trevor Toecracker Crook,
oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet him in January. I'm going to be heading over to Tiffany and our, it's only like a very short trip. It's like 8 days. We're going to be in, where the fuck are we going? We're going to be in Barcelona and I think in Italy. I don't know. Somewhere. I have to look. But it's, we're going to
around there.
Find him somewhere over there. I don't know.
He's around the place and he'll hang out too and have a few drinks. I was going to say, one of the things that he taught me was about knowing the worth and how much you can charge, and the legend has it, and there's no doubt that it's true that he actually he left his corporate banking job and he went up to a fellow Aussie entrepreneur and offered to write his sales letter. He quoted 10 grand and he got it, and that was his first sales letter he ever wrote for a client. So that's a belief. That's the power of belief. You just walk in. Obviously, he knew what he's doing. He knew his stuff. But just to sit down with the first client and say, yeah, it's 10 grand, and then get sign off on that. That's pretty good.
Dude, that's awesome because it automatically now sets your mental, whatever thermometer thing is like, okay, now I can get paid 10 grand for this piece of paper.
Yeah.
You don't have to go lower.
That mental thermostat is something that that I've kind of felt at different times. When I was doing the first time I felt it was, when I was doing the door knocking, I really got some great results. I was going to every house and I was picking up money from every house, and I was just sort of on fire. And then I was getting like 2 or 3 people to sign up to the club in that one house, and then I go to the next house, and your expectation is that you're going to sign them up as well. So. And more often than not,
you've got that expectation. It's like being on fire. It's like when somebody's like playing basketball or something or whatever sport, and they just keep making whatever the thing is, they keep scoring. Well, now they say, "Oh, I'm on fire. Give me the ball. I'm on fire." Man, it's just get into that fire mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like what you're saying. I mean, if you go in there expecting to win. I mean, not saying you're always going to win, but if you go in there expecting to lose, I guarantee you're going to lose.
Definitely.
So it's not always bad to have that little chip on your shoulder, I think. Sometimes that's good. You got to have that, of course I'm going to win. Why wouldn't I win? Then when you get cover, you can't get hit in the face and be like, oh my God, how did that happen? Like, Frank Kern says, and he's like, it's like being in a boxing match and then getting hit in the face and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Of course you're going to hit me. You can still win the fight.
Yeah. Like a lot of people when they start businesses, especially when they've got any direct selling element to it, which 99% have, I think sometimes they have a glass jaw, and the first hit they get knocks them down, and they give up on their entrepreneurial dream.
Yeah, dude, it's so true. That's exactly it. I mean, it's not a, God, I don't mean to sound corny, but like most of the stuff I do, at least, just doesn't really pan out. So I just started as quickly as possible. Like I just started this little job board on Facebook, for example. It went from like idea to execution within an hour.
Yeah,
It was like, maybe we can do it. Okay, let's see. Would anyone be interested? We had a few people say they'd be interested. We're like, all right, let's just throw up a group, see what happens. Like it's just, that may not pan out, but who knows? I mean, I'm just doing shit. Like my martial art thing, my I Love Jeet Kune Do, like 80, 90,000. That started just the same way. I was like, I like martial art. I love Bruce Lee stuff. I've trained in Jeet Kune Do for like a decade, a little while. Like, we'll just do a little thing. So it was just like a whatever. I was outside on my balcony hanging out, and I did it, and boom, it kind of, turned into something. So you just got to take tons of action. When shit doesn't work, it's like, that's expected. Like the constant is failure. So like, you know what I mean? Like, at least for me, my constant has always just kind of been like, I suck, I fail. And then boom, something cool happens. And then I said, but this makes all these work.
Yeah.
Type of deal, right?
Yeah. That's the wrong kind of expectation I think a lot of people have when they watch all the gurus' videos, and they see the success stories, and they think, oh, this guy's been in internet marketing for 20 years and he's never fucked up once. He's never had an email that's got less than 50% open rate and shit.
Right. Yeah. But the thing is, they take so much action. So if you take whoever your favorite guru is, that whoever they are, they're probably putting out tons of content, right? So if they're like Gary Vee or whatever, let's call Gary Vee, right? I like Gary Vee. I actually am more of a Grant Cardone type of person, but I like what he does, right? I just feel my personality is anyway, whatever. And be nerdy about this. So what I love about Gary Vee though is like, it's not like he doesn't fuck up. It's like he puts out so much shit though. It's like who can keep up with his fuck ups? How much shit he's doing, you know what I mean? So the thing is, people don't take enough action. So they do 1, 2, 3 things, and all 3 fail. And they're like, oh, this whole life is a scam. Fuck this.
It's a scam.
Like the winner who's like taking 100 for every 10 action this person did, this other person did 100, and now they have 1 or 2 successes. My buddy Jordan does that in e-commerce. He actually, and it's like the e-commerce people really get this, I think, and I don't know if they get it like on a real deep principle level that they can apply it to life, but they get this, right? So if they want to get a winning product, right, they don't test 1 design, 2 designs, 5 designs. My buddy Jordan tests 100 designs at one time because he knows 2, 3, maybe 4 winning products are going to come out of that. So he goes and tests 100. He doesn't test 1, 2, 4, or 5. And so that's what he's discovering. I don't know how much he's generated, probably close to $1 million, but it's only been a year, less than a year. And this is an e-com business he just kind of started, And he figured it out. He's figured it out. He's like, dude, when I first started, like months, because, on the internet, you can scale fast. So it's funny how fast he's grown. But so in the beginning, like only a few months ago, when he was really just starting, he would test a few products. And then he realized the more I test, the more failures I get, but I get that one winner. And that's all that matters. That's where all his money is made. So just fuck it, dude. Just take so much action. Like the failures are irrelevant. Like, of course you're going to fucking, That's life.
Yeah. I mean, I remember going to a seminar in Sydney. It's about 2006, I reckon. And, I was late and there was only 1 spot left. And I went up to it was near the front of the room. I went to the room and there's this guy sitting there, nice, beautiful pinstripe suit, very regal, and he's scribbling page after page of notes. So that's interesting too. I spoke to him at the break, and obviously I was so new at copywriting at the time. I didn't even realize that I was sitting next to one of the greats of all time, Ted Nicholas. And,
oh wow!
And he said to me that about 8 out of 10 ads that he writes, like display ads kind of things, is a flop. But the other 2 make up for the 8 flops every time. It's the same with the door knocking as well. The biggest mistake that people when they come on the team, they're kind of slow between doors because it's that subconscious fear of getting the no's, which are going to happen anyway. the more doors you knock in, it's a numbers game. Just go faster, get through them. Go as fast as you can. If someone looks like they're not interested, say goodbye and get the hell over to the next door. So, that's the way to go. That's the key to success. Just treat it like a numbers game.
Dude, that's cool. I love the Ted Nicholas story. That's cool. I think I've heard that before, but I didn't realize it was him. It didn't match. That's pretty cool that he says, because he's one of the greats, you know?
Yeah, he's an absolute legend. And I somehow, awesome. I think I mistakenly ended up in the speaker section because that was the only empty chair.
That's funny.
But that's okay. It's any way to meet a legend like that, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So, do you have like a sales training or anything, or like that, or is it just kind of built into what you do?
Well, I actually developed my training based on some of the stuff I was already doing, and then I realized that some of the stuff I was doing kind of could have been tweaked. And so it's funny. I went from doing whatever I do, which was kind of working most of the time, to trying to develop a formula for it. And because I tried developing the formula, it actually improved my thing. So now my stuff is more formulaic. So I actually I like to say 9 steps, but it doesn't always have to be 9 steps. It could be like 7 steps or something. Yeah. And that's generally what I do to close for anything, right? If somebody wants to close on a copywriting service or project, I use my 9 steps. If somebody wants to close to join my $500 a month membership program, I use my 9 steps because I get on the phone because I don't want everybody to join that group. So I get on the phone with them. And like the 9 steps works for everything. It doesn't matter what it is, because the whole base, like we could actually do it right now. Yeah. So if we were on the phone or something, and first off, the way I get on the phone with somebody for this situation, because it has to have context, right? Yeah. So for this situation is you've already spoken to me either through email or through Facebook or through some sort of Skype or something, and we've already somewhat discussed what it is that you offer, right? So maybe you're like, hey, I'm in the personal development niche, and I'm looking to get some sales letters and possibly emails and stuff like that written. Cool. 9 out of 10 times I'll say stuff like, okay, perfect. Well, my flat rate for stuff like a sales letter, an email, or whatever is this. And it normally takes this amount of time to complete. Do you want to schedule a call to see if it'd even be a good fit to get started? Yeah. And then if they say yes to that, well, I know the price isn't an issue, and I know the time frame may not be an issue. And then I can just make them a sweet deal and bulk something together, right? Yeah. So like 90% in my head, 90% of the sale is already done. Now it's just like, all right, does this person understand what I want? And do I trust them enough to give them 5 figures or whatever it might be? Yeah. So that's kind of the context of it, right? So, and I could actually get into how I generate leads, maybe this call or another call, whatever. Yeah. But when people come onto the phone call now, the first step is just, hey, really appreciate you hopping on the call. Is this still a good time to talk? They say yes, perfect. And then the second step is what I call the spill your guts part, right? So I ask them to literally just spill their guts. So I say, hey, I know we spoke a little bit, Brian, on the phone or through Skype or whatever it was, and you told me a little bit about your business, but just spill your guts a little bit more about that. I want to get a full understanding. Yeah. And then I just shut up. I let them talk for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, usually around that amount of time, which is a lot of talking time, right? And so what ends up happening is what I've noticed, if you let them talk for more than like 5 minutes or so, in their head, they start wondering, is this person even listening to me? Like they haven't said anything for 5 minutes, because I'm really talking about 5 minutes, right? And so they're talking about their business, and you can probably talk about your business for 5 minutes, or long. So it's not hard. When you tell someone spill your guts, you give them like the command to do that, and they spill their guts. So. So I stop and I say, okay, perfect. Well, let me just pause you there because I want to make sure that I'm on the same page as you. Is that okay? And I get their confirmation. Yeah, of course that's okay, right? Why wouldn't you want that? So this is my step 3, which is my recap. So my recap just recaps what they just said in that 5-minute chunk, right? So this just requires you to be a good human and listen to the person. Assuming you're doing that, you listen to them, you recap what they just said. So, really, even if you forgot after you recapped it, if you forgot what they just said, they would still feel like you're on the same page because you just recap what they just said on the same page. And then after you do that, you take like 10 seconds to recap it, 15 seconds, very short, right? And then you say, okay, now tell me a little bit more about, this one point that you mentioned. And That's spill your guts part 2. So now they have to go spill their guts about whatever you just told them to be specific about. And then the next step is I have them, and as I recap what they just said, again, it's super simple, super basic, but when you take the formulaic approach, it makes this whole like process of persuasion dead easy, because it's just what people want. They want to be listened to, and they want to make sure you understand what they want. And this does that. So again, I recap for the second time whatever it is that they were talking about. So I said, okay, perfect. So let me just recap this again. And I use the keywords. It's not like you don't have to make this up. So let me just recap what you just said to make sure we're on the same page. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, that's okay. I love doing stuff like that because it gets mini confirmations the whole way through. Is that okay with you? Is that good? Do you hear me? Blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Saying yes, yeah.
Yeah, keep saying yes, dude. So, so I recap whatever it is. And then I say, is that along the lines of what you wanted? Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, perfect. Now, and then I transition into essentially my proposal, which is really just kind of, again, a recap of what they just said they really wanted and what they said in the message before, which is like, I want a sales letter and I want this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of be the doctor to prescribe what they want based on the elements they told me. Elements being, I want a sales letter, I want emails. Well, I'll tell you how many emails you need, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I'll prescribe that shit. So I'll say, okay, so so based on what you just said, do you mind if I propose a little bit of a strategy on what we could do?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, sweet. So, and then I just repeat whatever you just said, right? Yeah. So I repeat. So I think we need to do a sales letter or 5 emails for and whatever the prescription is. Does that sound like a strategy that would work for you? Yes, that would work for me. Perfect. So the total investment, like I mentioned before, it's normally 10 grand or 10,000 for just a sales letter and this and that. And I kind of list it out. And I say, well, since we're doing it all as a bulk, we can just kind of do a sweet deal for only X dollars, whatever that is. And it'll take about 4 to 5 weeks to complete, because generally that's what it takes anyway.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a time frame and everything? Does that work for you? Yes. Because you have to shut up. This is where I have to tell myself, shut up. Because when I say, does that work for you? And then I don't let them answer the question, I'll just keep fucking talking because I'm like,
so you have to
just shut up. So I like to emphasize that if anybody's listening,
for sure.
Shut up and let them answer the question. Right? So, because that's a close. Yep, that time frame, the budget, all that stuff. That sounds exactly like what I need. And many times you'll actually get the person to say, dude, it sounds like you know exactly what I need. Like you're on, like, because you literally listen to them and you
they just said it. Yeah.
Like it's, Okay, so, and then what I like to do is I'll offer what I call my little guarantee. So after I prescribe them, I've told them the price, I've gotten the confirmation on the price, gotten the confirmation on the deadline. They're essentially closed, but I don't want them to feel hesitant. I want them to feel like I'm their best friend. So I'm just going to bring up what would naturally be brought up anyway, right? Yeah. Because what ends up happening is you do such a good job down this whole path of persuasion that what I ended up noticing is if I didn't include this part, it was like the last minute resistance stuff, before closing the deal. So I do my guarantee. So my guarantee is like, all right, perfect. But before we get started, I kind of wanted to let you know, hey, what happens if, God forbid, this doesn't work?
Yeah.
Can I share that with you? Oh, God, yeah, please. I know it's a lot of money. So if for some reason this stuff doesn't work, I revise it up to 3 times, whatever your personal guarantee is.
Yeah.
Right. But you essentially want to structure it so it's, I'm here to work with you. I'm not just trying to get a quick $20,000 out of you and run. I want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars with you while making you millions of dollars. So, anyway, this is the whole point, is so that I can work with you long term and blah, blah, blah. But that's how you kind of want to frame your guarantee, whatever your guarantee is.
Yeah.
I don't have money back guarantee. I have a guarantee of revisions or sticking with you to make sure
same.
Like that. So there's that. So once you say the guarantee, you say, so does that sound fair to you? And they say, yeah, of course that sounds fair. Fuck yeah, that's great. Okay, perfect. What's the best email to go ahead and send the PayPal invoice to? I like saying, what's the best email to send the PayPal? First off, I use PayPal, so I don't know what other people use, but I use PayPal. So, and when I say, what's the best email, that isn't asking like, can you please give me your email? Yeah.
It's assumptive.
Probably not. Let me. Yeah. But when you assume the close and say, hey, what's the best email to go ahead and send the PayPal invoice to so we can get started?
Yeah.
They're going to give it to you. And when they give it to you, I like to lock them in. So, and I saw this from Grant Cardone. I didn't make this shit up. So I lock them in. I say, okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and I'll blast that over to you. Is there any reason you wouldn't be able to take care of it today? I want to make sure you're totally comfortable. And you shut up, right?
Yeah.
So It's like anytime you ask a question, then just shut up and let them answer it. Right? Yeah. So you shut up. Nope, there's no reason I wouldn't be able to complete it. Or if there is something, you just address the issue. But let's assume the perfect sale. Nope, I'm going to take care of it as soon as I hang up. Okay, perfect. You're the best. What I also started adding on to this, and I don't know if I included it in my little system, but I do it and I tell people to do it all the time, is you've already got them here saying yes, 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 yes. They've already agreed to the money. They already agreed to the deadline. Everything's agreed to. So you kind of closed them. Yeah, it's not closed till they pay you, but kind of close.
Yeah. So
right before you leave, you say, okay, and real quick, before I know you guys will go, I don't want to keep you, but assuming I do really, really, really well and crush this for you, would you be okay with giving me a testimonial that I can use my own advertising? Yeah, of course. Oh, you're the best. And since I really want to work with you long term, would you be, again, only if I get you good results and it's profitable and it's kicking butt, would you be open to a monthly retainer of either $5,000 or $10,000 per month later down the road? And then shut up. Because now you set yourself up for a 6-figure per year deal, which you can actually upsell and get like 90 grand a lot faster. There's tons of different tactics, but that's once. And if they say, and generally what will end up happening is because you've pre-framed it like only if I do well, assuming assuming the best situation, would you even be open to that shit? Because they've already closed on what you wanted to close them. This is just a quick upsell. Like think of it like an order book.
Yeah.
So they're going to say many times, you say, well, yeah, if you do well, yeah, I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't want to at least talk about a retainer gig. Sounds like it'd be good. Perfect. Really appreciate that. And then you're done. You go ahead and you send the thing, right? You're done. But what that does is when you you send the proposal or you send your PayPal invoice and you get paid, right? That's what I mean by you're done. But then when you hand in your actual work, what you end up doing is saying, hey, here's my work. And I want to actually go ahead and schedule a call maybe for a week or 2 weeks down the line to talk about a retainer gig to see if it'd still be a good fit. Does that work with you? Yes, no, whatever. More likely they're going to say yes because you've already pre-framed them. They're already assuming something to talk about. And even if they don't close on that follow-up call, because the only objection you'll get of why they wouldn't want to schedule is because they haven't tested the copy yet. Well, somebody can say, well, I haven't tested your copy yet, so I don't know if I want to do this call. Well, hey, no worries. I mean, I just want to schedule it so that we can talk about it. We don't have to close or anything, but I just want to get everything ironed out, and then you still test the copy. Are you available next week? Yes, no, whatever. Get the appointment and then talk, because now you're one step closer. And many times it will close, so it's cool.
Yeah, that is cool, and I'm definitely gonna use some of that myself. You know, I don't think I get on as many calls, but maybe I should get on some more calls to really get some practice on that because that is absolute gold. You know, I wasn't planning on making this interview too much longer, but you know, short, sharp, and sweet like most of the interviews are. But I'm very glad that we stuck around and did that extra part because I was pretty much going to say, you know, Carlos, do you have like a PDF of your 9-step closing that people can sign up for? But they just got that. So
so if anybody wants to, that's it, man. I mean, that's literally what I use. And the mentorship program that I do, that's $500 a month, $497, $500 a month. We've got like hundreds of training videos on writing copy, but that's really, in my opinion, not where the most value is. The most value is when you get on to the live training every week and we do role playing, we do sales focused stuff. We also go over copywriting things, but the whole point of that mentorship is to do kind of like what we just did here and take a freelancer who might just be making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, maybe, and really try to skyrocket them to the $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 or compress it like $90,000.
Yeah, the difference is in how well they sell.
Oh, dude, the difference is in that. Some people are under this mistaken impression that they have to be, hey, I can only write emails and ads and landing pages. I can't write a long-form sales letter. So therefore I cannot make money as a copywriter. That's not true. You can make 6 figures just doing this. I'm not saying you can make 7 figures, but you can make 6 figures just doing this email shit, getting people on, closing retainers early, doing a bunch, what I call like sales compression stuff. You're compressing a lot of sales that would have happened over 12 months with the same client into a 1-day period. You just get stacked up, right? It gives you the ability to do more shit. And most people don't make those offers. They say, hey, I'll make $5,000 a month, you know, for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. What if you just tell the person, hey, instead of paying $5,000 a month for 12 months, well, it's like $60,000 a year, just pay me $35,000 up front and I'll work with you for a year. And that way you don't pay me up front. I get a nice chunk up front and you know I'm not going to run away. You've already worked for the last 2 or 3 months. And so now do that with that. Now, let's say it was a $10,000 client that would pay you $120,000 a year, close them on a $90,000 year-long retainer, but you close them in one day. So now you get $90,000 chunk sent to your bank account, stacks up. So people don't think of like shit like this. Like you can do that stuff with you don't have to learn a new skill of copywriting. Like that's all good. But if you're just like, hey, I want to make money, you don't need to just go, like learning a sales letter isn't going to guarantee that you can make money. People who write a sales letter who can't get people to pay them what they're worth. So
yeah, I mean, when you think about it, a good copywriter who can sell your product in a sales letter, should be able to sell themselves.
Absolutely. But the thing is, copywriting attracts people like myself who we were introverts. So
yeah, same.
But the only way you're going to actually succeed in life is if you get out of your comfort zone.
True.
Copywriting allows you to win to a little bit of a degree while staying in your comfort zone as an introvert. But you're never going to break out among the crowd if you stay where everyone is. Yeah. This is where everyone is. We're all introverts. We'll just fucking step out of line and do something uncomfortable, like a podcast. Like who cares? Like a Facebook Live or Instagram Live. It doesn't matter. But stepping out,
it's key.
It's just easy now. Like there's so many people who just do the base level stuff and that's it. And then they wonder, how do I break out? What they're really saying is, how do I break out while staying here at my current level and not getting out? Can't do it.
Yeah. So what if they want to break out and do something with you? Do you have a sales page for that membership program that you mentioned?
No, the best way if anybody's interested in that is to just send me a direct message on Facebook, Carlos Redlich, Redlich. Just send it to my personal profile. Yeah,
cool, man. Everyone should definitely do that because even if they not sure if they want to do that, even just talking to you, being sold by you would be an education in itself. So everyone should definitely do that right now.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. It's funny because I feel like it's just treating people how they want to be treated.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody has a process for this, but if you have a system for making other people feel good and extracting money at the same time, like why won't you use it?
Yeah, win-win. Thanks for coming back on the show, man. Great to hear from you again. With more absolute gold on the call. I'll definitely have to have you back the third time. I think you mentioned something about generating leads, so I'll twist your arm on that, and we'll do this again sometime soon.
Sweet, man. I appreciate you having me on.
No worries. Talk soon. Thanks.
Talk soon.
Thank you for listening to Geniuses of Copywriting with Brian Casangina. To get the full transcript and all the resources mentioned on today's show, go to www.geniusesofcopywriting.com now.